There's a moment that most people never talk about, not because it doesn't happen, but because when it does, it's usually quiet. No announcement, no explanation, no warning. One day, everything seems normal, and then they disappear. They stop replying. They stop showing up. They stop explaining themselves, not just to one person, but to everyone. And if you've ever been on the receiving end of that, it feels confusing, even painful. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Did I miss something? Why would someone just cut everyone off like that? But here's the part most people don't see. Because from the outside, it looks sudden. But on the inside, it almost never is. For many people, cutting everyone off isn't an impulsive decision. It's the final stage of something that's been building for a long time. Something quiet, something invisible, something exhausting. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional overload, a state where a person has absorbed so much stress, pressure, or emotional weight that their system starts to shut down, not dramatically, but gradually. At first, they try to cope. They stay in conversations that drain them. They tolerate things that bother them. They ignore how they feel, just to keep things stable. Because leaving feels harder, explaining feels uncomfortable, and conflict feels like something to avoid. So they stay, and slowly, they start giving more than they have. There's a concept in psychology called emotional labor. It refers to the effort it takes to manage emotions, both yours and other people's, during interactions. For some people, that effort becomes constant. They listen, they support, they adjust themselves. They carry emotional weight that isn't even theirs. And over time, that starts to build, not as one big problem, but as many small ones, stacking quietly in the background, until one day, something shifts, not outside, inside. But as a form of protection for themselves. There's also something deeper that can be happening. Trust fatigue, when someone has repeatedly experienced disappointment, misunderstanding, emotional inconsistency. They don't always react immediately. Sometimes they adapt. They become more careful, more reserved, more distant, until eventually they reach a point where continuing the same patterns no longer feels worth it. And instead of confronting every issue, they make a different decision. They stop participating. Not loudly, quietly. This is often misunderstood as coldness or indifference. But in many cases, it's not that they stopped caring. It's that caring started to cost too much. There's a psychological idea known as boundary collapse. It happens when someone has gone too long without protecting their own limits. They say yes when they mean no. They tolerate what drains them. They stay in situations that don't feel right. Until eventually, they can't maintain those boundaries anymore. And instead of slowly rebuilding them, they do something more drastic. They remove themselves completely because at that point, gradual change feels impossible. So the only way forward feels like distance. Now here's something important. Not everyone who cuts people off is healthy in how they do it. Sometimes it can be avoidance. Sometimes it can be fear of confrontation. Sometimes it can leave others confused and hurt. But understanding why it happens doesn't mean excusing it. It means seeing the full picture, because on the surface, it looks like someone just walked away. But underneath, it often looks like someone who stayed too long, gave too much, and reached a point where continuing felt heavier than leaving. And when that moment comes, the decision feels clear. Not easy, but clear. Now, pause for a moment. Think about the people in your life. Has anyone ever suddenly disappeared? Or have you ever felt the urge to do it yourself? If you have, then you already understand something most people don't. That this isn't about not caring. It's about capacity, about energy, about limits, about what a person can hold before they have to let go of something. And sometimes, what they let go of is everything. But here's where things shift, because cutting everyone off isn't always the solution. It creates space. Yes, but it doesn't always solve what caused the overwhelm in the first place. That part still has to be understood, because if the pattern isn't addressed, the same cycle can repeat. New people, same outcome, which is why awareness matters. Understanding what drained you, what you ignored, where your limits were crossed, so that next time, you don't have to disappear to feel okay again, because the goal isn't isolation, it's balance. It's learning how to stay connected without losing yourself in the process. And that starts with something simple, but difficult. Paying attention to how you feel before you reach your limit, not after. Because when you catch it early, you don't have to cut everything off to finally breathe again.